Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. If you haven't yet, or if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that like button, and let's jump into it. As you can see, we are back out into the Everglades. Here we have a Florida gar. These guys are everywhere out here in the clear waters of the glades. It's a really beautiful night tonight, so honestly, we should totally find a bunch of stuff. Here we have a southern toad. I really love these guys. They always look like they're having a trippy good time. This is an invasive species, the Cuban tree frog, but to be honest, they look pretty cool, though they shouldn't be here. Here we have a good old alligator swamp puppy of the glades. There's also a ton of these guys out here. He's just hanging out, seeing what we're up to.
I recognize him with his little white scrapes on his ossiderms.
Look at him surface, that's awesome. This has to be honestly one of my favorite shots in the wild of an alligator I've gotten. Just coming up out of the bridge, underneath the bridge, swimming along into the lily pads in the mangrove area. Super awesome. Here we have the first snake of the night. This is a scarlet snake. It's funny, a lot of people say they have a hard time finding these, and to be honest, every time I've gone to the Everglades, I believe I have found one. They are a fossorial species, so that can be also why they're a bit tricky to find. They are primarily egg eaters. They'll eat eggs of snakes and lizards, but they also tend to eat small frogs, snakes, and lizards as well, as other things of those sorts. Here we have an Everglades eastern yellow rat snake that we road cruised. Not a massive rat snake, but still a decent size. Well mannered as well, didn't strike at any of us. These guys are pretty common out here, but this was the first one I had seen in the Everglades. We all got some photos of him and then made sure to get him off the road to safety so he wouldn't get hit by any cars. Speaking of first I've seen in the Everglades, this was the find of our night coming up. No, that's not a coral snake. Here we have the scarlet king snake. And this animal was absolutely stunning. Not necessarily a target species we were looking for that night, but an absolute trophy of a find we weren't expecting. I should also state that this animal is a king snake of the scarlet variety of king snakes, not to be confused with the actual scarlet snakes we caught earlier in the video and will continue to catch throughout the night of this video because they were so prominent that night. After some quick pictures and some video, we go ahead and make sure we release the scarlet king snake along on its way and continue our trek further into the glades. Next up, you might have guessed it from the statement I made earlier. Yep, we have another scarlet snake. If you look closely, you'll definitely see the differences between them and the scarlet king snake. One of them being that the scarlet snakes have an all-white stomach, whereas the scarlet king snake's banding and color patterning actually wraps all the way around the body and stomach.
Scarlets everywhere.
The more and more scarlet snakes we started to find that night, the more we started to notice pattern differences in their striping, which you will see pointed out in a few specimens a little further down the video. Here we actually found an adult scarlet snake and a baby scarlet snake right next to each other in the same vicinity.
Look at that color. Mint, white, to like all that little blotching.
We're able to show you how the color dissipates and tends to fade as the adults grow, whereas the babies are very, very vibrant. Alright, let's mix it up from scarlet snakes to some other stuff real quick for a bit, shall we? Honestly, was not sure of the species of the spider. If you know, go ahead and drop it in the comments. Here we have an eastern narrow-mouthed toad. We're out there pretty often and honestly don't see these guys very often at all. So it was pretty cool to come across them, and honestly we came across about 5 that night. Now let's talk about some of the aberrant patterning we started seeing in the scarlet
You see the
snakes.
pattern? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that
It's
one.
like almost an O. Yeah. Look, it's like connected down the side. See it?
Look at that one.
That's sick, dude. That's cool.
So yeah, that was one of the patterning differences I noticed on that specific snake. We also had found a couple other aberrant different patternings on some other scarlets you'll see here soon. And if you're still with me in this video, thank you so much for sticking with it. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button, like button again. I really appreciate it. It means more than you know. Alright, with this next scarlet, you'll notice the aberrant patterning on this. The banding starts wide between bands and then goes very thin between bands towards the end.
And then narrow.
Yep.
That's really neat.
Another baby. I really like them. I like the babies
Yeah, I
almost
was gonna
better.
say the babies are really bright and like high contrast, and then when they get older, they seem to kind of get
Well,
yellow.
I'm glad the population of scarlets is doing phenomenal out here.
Here we came across what's called faithful beauty, a species of moth. But to be honest, we had no idea. We just thought it was a pretty bug in the wild. Here we found 2 little baby scarlet snakes right next to each other, and you can see how teeny tiny that one little guy is. After releasing the baby scarlets, we came across a larger adult with another pattern difference, with large gaps between the
Kind
bands.
of great. Like all washed out. Very nice, dude. Got a cool off pattern too there. Look, like he's wide and like off pattern in the front, and then really really organized and like distinguished.
Here we have a Everglades corn snake, switching it up from the scarlets for you guys. This guy literally fell from a 7-foot to 8-foot tall tree branch directly above the path, right ahead of us. We heard him thump the ground, turn to the right, and there was a corn snake on the ground.
you.
He is pissed. I'm trying to hold him to see how heavy. See, I'll get the rest.
Oh, bro.
Super pretty corn snake though.
Some shots real quick.
After some pictures and videos again, we released him, but we went ahead and let him back up the tree he was originally on. Here's a cute little native green tree frog. These guys are sadly being killed off by the invasive Cuban tree frogs that we have. Okay, here's a cool one to switch it up for you guys, and a lifer for me surprisingly. This is an eastern garter snake in an Everglades specific locale that has a lot of blue coloring. This one doesn't show as much blue as the others, but the ones out there do get very blue. Here's a Florida cottonmouth. These guys actually get a very bad rap. People claim they chase you, but I swear to you these snakes do not chase you. I've worked with these animals hands-on at Tom Crutchfield's place, as well as seeing them in the wild now, and I promise you that it is nothing but a wives' tale. These animals will not chase anybody. If they go your way, they're trying to get away. And last but by no means least, we have some beautiful American crocodiles. Florida, again, is the only place in the world where you'll find crocodiles and alligators living naturally together in the same habitat. A true pleasure to be able to go out into the wild of my own state and see crocs and alligators in the same habitat existing together. He's eating my flesh right now. Yeah, yum 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 yum. That's too funny.